This is the Engage Your Destiny podcast, where your destiny is our mission. Serving our active military, veterans, and families. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Engage Your Destiny podcast. Ben Peterson here. I'm so excited that you take some time to be with us today. And I've got an incredible guest that you are, going to be blown away by his story. But first, I want to remind you guys to support the mission of Engage Your Destiny as we are advancing the Great Commission in the military. And we are working with soldiers, airmen, Marines all over the world, ministering to them, supporting them. And by supporting Engage Your Destiny, you are supporting the defenders of freedom. So guys, let's lock in. We've got an incredible show today, and thank you for being a part of this movement. Jimmy May, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Appreciate you being here, dude. So want to start off giving you a gift. So this is one of our Engage Your Destiny bracelets, and we've got the phrase on it that we go together. And so we build our tribe of faith. Jesus sent his people out 2 by 2. And so we believe in always going together and being together. So that says we go together, and now you're one of us, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
You're welcome. So I want to read your bio here. So Jimmy May, you were born in El Paso, Texas. You joined the Navy at 18 years old in 1996. What does that make you, like 50 now?
48.
48, okay.
Yeah.
You were initially a nuclear mechanic.
Yeah, it was not my thing. I was doing fine, but I didn't like it.
Yeah. Then you joined the SEAL teams in 2001 on September 3rd, which I can't wait to talk about. You were in Team 2, 3, development group, as well as 5. You've done 6 combat deployments. You retired in 2023, and you founded an incredible nonprofit, which is called Beyond the Brotherhood. I can't wait to talk about that. And then you also have Mayday Executive Business Adventures.
Yes, sir.
Which will be awesome to talk about too. So let's get into it, man. I'm so excited for what God's doing in your life, and even just hearing, some of your backstory. But dude, let's start at the beginning. Born in El Paso, Texas, and what was family life like growing up for you? Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, all that.
Yeah, my parents were together the whole time. My dad worked a lot. He was never around. He had 3 jobs. We were squarely lower middle class. I think he worked at Safeway, he worked at 7-Eleven, and he worked at civil service in the motor pool.
3 jobs.
3 jobs. I just didn't see him much.
Yeah.
And then my mom ended up getting out of nursing school. She went to nursing school, and when she got out of nursing school, then my dad went through. And so about the time I got out of high school, they started doing better. But we lived on the poor side of town. I was the only white kid. It was El Paso was around the border, so it was like Mexicans, and then we had a large black population. So I kind of know Spanish. I don't have to study it. Just growing up there, that's what happens.
Yeah. Wow. And so then, did you have family that served in the military, or?
Most of my family did serve in the military. Most of them didn't do well.
Okay.
Like my grandpa fought in Korea, and he had a couple Purple Hearts, which I didn't know until I came back after I got shot. And
That's
he was
wild.
like, "Hey boy, I heard you got shot." I'm like, "Yes, sir, I did." He goes, "You ever wonder why I have 5 belly buttons?" I'm like, "Huh." Now that I'm 32, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, my whole life, I just thought he had 5 belly buttons.
5 belly buttons?
Yeah, he got shot in the stomach a few times. So he told us he had extra belly buttons. Yeah.
Jeez.
And
then it all starts to come together.
Yeah, right. All of a sudden, like, that doesn't make sense, but that's what I believe. When you're a kid, someone tells you something, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of my family didn't do well. A lot of them got thrown out of the military. So we did not have I wouldn't say it's a stellar record in the military.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you feel like there was like a kind of like you come from like a stubborn, like mean streak, kind of like,
That's
yeah.
exactly my family. Stubborn,
Okay.
mean streak. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
You know
why
my mom?
I do not, but I guess I'm getting a good idea here.
I love my mom. She's awesome. She's
Yeah.
also stubborn though.
Stubborn and mean streak. So you joined the Navy at 18, and why did you choose the Navy?
I didn't have any real opportunity. I felt like I thought college was for rich kids, so I didn't think I could go.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what to do. I didn't really prepare, so I was like, I guess my family all joins the Navy. I'll go do the Navy. And I took the test, the ASVAB. Turned out did really well. I maxed it out. So,
Wow.
and I'm not overly intelligent. I just take tests well.
Yeah.
And so I maxed it out, and they said, hey, you can start off as an E3 if you go to nuclear power. I'm like, okay, sounds like more money. I'll do it.
Yep.
So,
Wow. And nuclear power, what does that mean?
So nuclear power, all of the submarines and a couple of the aircraft carriers run nuclear power, and basically you would run the steam turbine. It's a steam turbine that's heated by nuclear energy, and you run that reactor. But I didn't finish. I was doing fine in school, but I got a scholarship before nuclear power school was done, so they sent me to college.
Wow. So then where'd you go to school?
So I did my undergrad at Texas A&M, and I got there, and I was like, okay, this is going to be so hard. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
I never went to class, had a 3.6 GPA. I was always in trouble, got arrested a few
How
times.
do you not go to class and still get 3.6?
I am a guy that always sees the outside fringe.
Yeah.
You know, I was always, usually dating or with like a female athlete. So she would have access to the old test. You study the old tests. It's just a test bank. You get all the questions. And so now you go on and take the real test. So I studied that way. I also I was ahead of my time as far as like notes and books and stuff. I just didn't need to go to class that much.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in this like point in your life, where is your faith at? Where is your
Pretty much non-existent.
non-existent?
Yeah, I grew up in the faith of my family.
Okay.
And
What kind of faith?
Christian, born again Christians, yeah.
Yeah.
And so my family raised me right, and then when I went off to the Navy, and especially in college, I didn't lose it, but I wasn't practicing anything that was good. I worked a lot. I got arrested, got thrown out of ROTC.
How'd you get arrested? What'd you do?
What did I get arrested for? I've been arrested a few times. I got arrested. It had to do with alcohol. It wasn't a big deal. It was just basically being drunk and stupid.
Yeah.
But then I did get thrown on my ROTC, and that was an interesting story because we had. I used to collect golf balls from the golf pond and sell them back to the pro shop because my daughter was born when I was 20, so I had to like pay for her,
Yeah.
And so I would go out there and they would sell them back a quarter a piece. Well, I was out there and they had this nutria, which you know what a nutria is? It's like it's like a beaver, but a giant rat. They have red teeth. They're super mean. They're all over Texas, Louisiana.
Really?
And they're like, I don't know, I think probably weighs, I don't know, 20 pounds.
Dude, the stuff that grows in the South is unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Louisiana
from
especially.
Minnesota. I appreciate that the winters kill stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So I go and I scoop them up in the trash can and I leave them there. And I go about my business. I think I found 1,700 golf balls in that pond. So I sold them back for like $400, which was a lot of money for me back then.
Totally.
And then I took that thing. I wasn't sure what to do with it. So there was this guard room where basically the cadets have to answer the phone.
Yeah.
And I shook that thing up and hucked it in there. And this thing went crazy. It was like all mad. And the students were running and I get in trouble because it was funny. I
Yeah,
told people,
for sure.
And I'm not thrown out yet.
Yeah.
So then I have to like check in at 2 a.m. I get a restricted weekend. 2 a.m, 4 a.m, 6 a.m, every 2 hours for the whole weekend.
Wow.
And so like any, good future degenerate, I'm just getting drunk all night. And so I get ready to check in, I put my uniform on and I'm like, the desk I check in is at this tall. I've got to put my pants on. So I go check in with no pants on and just the grandpa straps holding my shirt to my socks.
Wow.
And when I check in, they're like, "You're drunk." I was like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, I walked out like, "You don't have your pants on." And so they were kind of like, "That's enough ROTC for you, Jimmy."
Wow.
But I was prior enlisted, so they said you don't need to do it.
And they arrested you for all that?
They didn't arrest me. They just threw me out of ROTC.
3 hour RTC.
But I had good grades and
Yeah.
I represented them well at their ROTC competitions. And so they were like, just stop doing this ROTC and just finish college and don't get in trouble again. So
And did you finish college?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All while being in the Navy.
No, they let you out of the Navy during that time.
Got it.
So I had to go back.
Yep.
So they paid for my college and then I had to go back.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what year did you go back?
So 5.5 years to get my 4-year degree is what I did at Texas A&M. And I went back 2001, specifically started Bud September 3rd.
So how did you go from Navy, like generator, nuclear to the SEALs?
I hated the generator thing.
Yeah.
The nuclear was very academic. The community around me wasn't my kind of people. I mean, they're not bad. They're the hardest working people. They're super hard working. Like when the ship pulls in, everyone goes off to have a good time. They have to sit there and turn the jacking gear and like cool the stuff down appropriately. And they're the first ones back on the ship to start it back up. So they work hard. It just wasn't my community. So I was looking for something different. And I told my uncle, I was like, "Hey man, I was just a grumpy, angry kid." I'm like, okay, the Navy was stupid. I went there. It just seemed dumb. I'm in college right now. I've got great grades. I don't even go to class. This is stupid.
I'm bored.
What is hard? And he's like, "Wow, the SEALs are hard, but you shouldn't do it." I'm like,
Now,
"Why?"
did your uncle serve?
Yeah.
And what did he do?
He was a warrant officer. He started off enlisted. I think he loaded bombs on planes on aircraft carriers.
Okay.
And he probably doesn't realize how, because he's not a major player in my life, but this thing he said to me,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, he goes, you shouldn't do it because you won't make it. I'm like, why won't I make it? He goes, nobody makes it. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I'm in.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason. I don't have a great God country family reason.
Yeah.
I just was looking for something difficult.
Well, and it's fascinating because Navy SEALs have become like superheroes in our culture, right? And did you even know what a Navy SEAL was back then?
No,
Had no idea.
because back then it wasn't a big thing, like,
But it still was insanely hard.
and that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about being a SEAL. I just wanted to go through buds.
Hmm.
I wanted they called it the kick in the nuts to join the man club. That's what I wanted to do. But I didn't plan on staying in. I just wanted to do buds.
Just prove you could do it.
Yeah, I don't even know why. I
Yeah.
just wanted something hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you have to, because of your ASVAB score, did that help you get into the team?
So you got to have, no, because now I'm an officer.
Okay.
So officers don't take the ASVAB. The ASVAB is for enlisted guys.
Yep.
It's very hard to get into the teams as an officer. My grades were good, but they weren't great.
Yeah.
And so, you got to have almost a 4.0 to get into the SEAL teams.
Wow.
And I went to what's called mini buds, which was like this. It's like a little month-long thing where they go and they evaluate you against everybody else. I did really well in mini buds.
And were you athletic? Like, did you work out? Did you train?
Oh yeah, you got to train for buds. It ain't something you show up and do.
Yeah.
And I've been a wrestler. I've done jiu-jitsu for 20 something years.
Yeah.
I've always been in some kind of athletic sport. Yeah.
Wow. So what did mini buds look like?
Mini buds was 2 weeks of basically buds where you do, instead of a hell week, you do a heck night. And we had some people quit, but you kind of get a little taste of what it is. And then the next week you spend at the SEAL team. And the SEAL team, we were kind of a nuisance to them. I still remember the guy that showed us around. He was not happy. He was like, okay, nerds, sitting here and don't do anything. And we're like, wow, we're the SEAL team. We didn't get to do anything. He just was annoyed he had to show us around.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what was day one? So take me through the transition of like, you show up to day one at Buds.
Oh, real buds.
Real Buds. What?
Real buds. Okay, so I finished college August 19th, and I drive to California. So I get to California, I check into buds, and I was slated to start in buds class 239, which was in January. But I was chomping at the bit. I wanted to go right now.
Yep.
And they were like, hey, we've got an extra slot. Does anybody want to come in this class right now? And it was like the next day, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I just jumped in.
Wow.
And we kicked
How
it
long
off.
do people usually wait?
So it's just, they don't do it like the next day like I did. I took a week to get there and get my house set up, and then I just jumped right into buds.
Yeah.
I'd say most people are probably there for a month or two before they start buds. It's different now too.
Yeah. But even during that month, are they working out every day? Are they getting pushed? Are they sitting around?
Well, no, they're working out. It's called,
Yeah.
we used to call it PTRR. I don't know what it stands for, but it's basically like the time that you're waiting to get into buds. So you have a light workout every day.
Yep.
And then you shouldn't be out drinking and partying, but some guys do anyway.
Totally.
Yeah.
Wow. So you raise your hand, I'll take this class.
Yep.
What happens right after that?
Oh man, buds kicks off at like 3:30 a.m. Fire hoses, and you're on the grinder, which is just like the famous thing with the frog feet on it.
So back up, because it's so easy for you guys to gloss over details, especially for people like us,
Yeah.
right? So you're in bed, and they wake you up.
No, you got to be there.
You
at
report.
3:30. Yeah.
Got it.
And
So you show up, and you're in your PT gear.
you never walk. You have to run everywhere in buds.
Yep.
So basically, you run 6 miles a day just to eat.
Just to eat.
Just to eat. Back and forth to chow is a mile each way. You run 6 miles a day, and that doesn't even make it on the schedule. That's
Wow.
just how you go.
And so you show up at 3:30. You're in your PT gear, and they immediately come up.
You're in for camis and fatigues, and you got a little hat with a piece of string that ties your hat to you because you're going to be getting in the surf all day long.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then out comes the fire hose.
Oh, you run out there and it's a big concrete slab, and they
Yeah.
got a fire hose, and they're just having you burn through tons of calisthenics.
Yeah.
And then after that, every now and then they'll yell at you to hit the surf. So you got to run, jump in the Pacific, which is colder than people would think.
Yeah.
Like right now it's 59 degrees,
Yeah.
which is, I was there in September and into October was my hell week. So it was pretty cold.
Yeah.
So you got to hit that surf, and then every week you have to pass a 4-mile time run, an obstacle course that gets harder every single time. And then you have to pass a 2-mile ocean swim. I'd never
Wow.
been in the ocean until I'm getting there, like, yeah, swim 2 miles. I was like, can you even do this without getting eaten? I didn't know. I'm from Texas. I
Yeah.
didn't know you could do that in
Yeah.
the ocean.
Were
Yeah.
you a good swimmer?
No,
No.
I was just in shape.
You're just
So
in
I would
shape.
just have this fight with the water for 2 miles.
Yep.
So I passed all of them except for one. One day
Yeah.
the currents were bad. A lot of us failed. So
So after they bring you in and they're getting you with the fire hose and you're doing all these calisthenics, then are they just continuing to burn you out throughout the rest of the day? Does it
Oh.
go into the night?
oh yeah, it goes into, you have all 3 meals there, and you burn tons and tons of calories. You're so hungry when you sit down. You have
Yeah.
your tray with your plate, but food's falling off all of your tray. It's
So
just
they
like this
feed you
tray.
big.
They feed you big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some schools like Ranger School, I know they starve people. They
Mhm.
don't starve in buds because you're shivering all day long.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long do they give you to eat?
I think they give you enough time,
Yeah.
but the officers have to eat last, which I think is a great policy.
Yeah.
So we didn't have quite as much time. I would get in there, but I don't remember being hungry in buds.
Because I remember in basic, we got 6 minutes.
Yeah, they don't do that to us.
Okay.
No, you need to eat. 'Cause-
You need it.
yeah.
So then when was the first time, and this is something I've always been curious about, because like the whole the phrase is get wet and sandy, right?
Yeah.
So you go and you run into this Pacific.
Yeah.
And then do you stay in? Like, how does the sandy part happen?
Okay, so you jump in, then you have to get out. And I used to be executive officer at Bud, so
Yeah.
I used to run for that place, so I know how it goes.
Yeah.
So when you jump in, you get wet. You tell them wet and sandy the first time. So if I tell, Seaman Ben, go get wet and sandy. So you jump in the water, you get wet, you get sandy, you come back. The next time I send you, I tell you just to get wet. Because if you have any sand left on you, it means you didn't get wet enough.
Huh.
And so you kind of alternate the back and forth. So,
And what does
so
it mean to get sandy?
sandy, so you jump in the water, when you get out of the water, you roll around the sand until every single part of you, your eyelids, your ears, under your fingernails, everything has got to be sandy.
Sand.
And if you come back and it's not, you got to do it again. And it's on a time.
Wow.
So at low tide, it's a little farther away. So the times are tight, man. You don't got a lot of time. You got to run, sprint.
How much
hit
time
it,
do you
come
have
back.
to do it?
It depends where you are when they tell you to do it.
Right.
If you're in the classroom, like sometimes they'll just tell you in the classroom, like, hey, hit the surf, guys. And guys will get up, run up. So from the classroom, I want to say they gave us like a minute and a half.
Wow.
But it's a sprint. It's a dead sprint.
90 seconds to run out, get wet,
Yep.
get sand all over you, and run back.
Yep. Yeah. And all day long, you get the surf. Yeah.
Who came up with this?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just the tradition.
It's pretty miserable. Like by the end of Buds, I'm a big surfer, spear fisherman now.
Yeah.
I didn't get in the water for 7 years after Buds.
Wow.
Not on purpose.
How long is Buds?
So it's 63 weeks. Buds itself is the first 6 months. And then the second 6 months is SEAL qualification training.
So it's 6 months and you're doing this every day like
You're
that.
getting beat down. Yeah. A lot of injuries, insane attrition. I think we bill it as like 80% attrition or something. It's worse than that because guys show up and you have to compete to get into class. And if you don't make it out of one of the top guys, you just go straight to fleet and doesn't count against our numbers.
What was the darkest or hardest moment that you had in Buds?
The darkest moment I had in Buds was day 4 of Hell Week,
Now what's Hell Week?
Hell Week it's 5.5 days. You sleep for an hour and a half on like the 3rd day, but you are up, you run over 200 miles. None of it's slick. Most of it's carrying boats and logs. That's where the bulk of our attrition
And
happens.
how
in
far into
Buds.
Buds do they do Hell Week?
Week 3 or 4. Sometimes
Wow.
they mix it up so students don't know when it is. Yeah.
So you've already gotten through a few weeks of this,
Yeah.
and then it's Hell Week.
And I'm on the downslope of Hell Week. So the first 2 days are pretty intense, but after that, we call it the toddler schedule.
Yeah.
Because the guys are out of it. They can't really do anything anymore.
There's such a mess.
You just keep them awake by running them and throwing them in the water the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot of guys quit.
No, so most guys quit day 2 of Hell Week. And the evolution that gets the most people, because I know this, because they were like, hey, you guys need to make it easier. So what's evolution has the most quitters? I looked it up, evening chow on the 2nd day. Because they go in there, they get warm, and then they walk outside and it's dark. And right when they walk out, there's a fire hose blasting them. They have to pick up the boats and run again. And they quit in droves.
I can't do it.
And because
Yeah.
so the guidance to us was like, find out what the hardest evolution is and take it out. And I was like, okay, they're going to make us take out one of these legacy evolutions. I looked at it, I'm like, evening chow. I'm like, all right. Hey, good news. I took out the hardest evolution. Like, oh, great. Yeah, it was evening chow. And
Evening
then
chow.
what instead we make them eat MREs in the surf so they never get dry for the first couple of days.
And that keeps them longer.
They're going to quit. They're going to quit.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a specific thing.
Did
If you're going to
you-
quit, you're going to quit.
Do you get because I've read, do you get a second chance? Like if I say I'm quitting and then do the instructors say, hey, are you sure?
Oh yeah, they'll say that.
Yeah.
But guys, by the time they're quitting, the instructors be like, hey, you want to ring this bell? Now, if you're a turd student, they're just like, it's about time. Get
Yeah.
out there and
Get out of here.
But they'll ask you like, hey, you sure you want to do this? And then they're gone.
Yeah.
They have to go back, if you're enlisted, back to fleet for 2 years, and then you can come back if you're still under the age of 28. And then officers, you won't get another chance.
Did you?
But my darkest moment,
Yeah.
the darkest moment, it's stupid. It was day 4 of Hell Week, and you're kind of in this weird emotional roller coaster. And we were doing this race where we're carrying boats at this thing called Lion's Lope, and it's this mud flat. So you're all covered in mud, and you're running with these 2 boats. And
And what's Lion's Lope?
Lion's Lope is an event in Hell Week.
Okay.
where you're running around the mud, and you get there, and they end up, we won the race. I remember what it was. Well, you guys won, awesome. So we sat down to eat our MREs,
Yeah.
and they always take all the candy out. Someone had left the Skittles in my MREs.
No.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'm like, I got to share with the guys as soon as instructors aren't looking, but I
Yeah.
fell asleep. And so I woke up in the bay. So I was sitting there because I don't know how I got to the bay. I'm sure I ran, but I don't remember. They probably yelled at us for sleeping. So I'm in the bay and I'm sitting there shivering. I'm like, wait, my Skittles. And I reached in to find them, and they were covered in salt water. And I went to put one in my mouth, and I was so mad. Like, that was my low point. I was so excited about my Skittles.
Wow.
Stupid, right?
And you didn't get to, so they obviously found you and they found the Skittles. They got them
They
wet.
didn't find the Skittles. They
Okay.
just like, we were probably all asleep, because if
Yeah.
you sit down for 30 seconds, you fall asleep.
You fall asleep.
If you stop moving, you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so we woke up in the surf, and I was excited to share the Skittles with the guys, and they were,
Are they looking for people who don't quit?
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you don't know, everyone can beat their chest and talk about how tough they are, but you got to step up and prove it. The guys that beat their chest the loudest usually are just trying to do it for themselves, and they don't make it.
Huh.
I saw a lot of studs quit buds, and I was like, wow, didn't think this was this bad.
And what would break someone who's a stud?
I've seen people break on all sorts of stupid stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I saw someone break because they had to put water in your mask and do flutter kicks, and it kind of makes you choke until you learn how to close that valve in your nose.
Mm-hmm.
He quit because of that. I'm like, you moved your family here and trained all these years to get ready to go to buds, and you quit because some water's in your mask? But you never know where people's breaking point is, You
Yeah.
you don't know.
Do people, because there's also the pool training, right?
Yeah, the pool sucks.
The pool sucks.
Yeah.
What's the most difficult thing you guys do in the pool?
So statistically, it's going to be pool competency,
Okay.
which is the final test. And it works up. You have like what's called all these open circuit tests. And so you're breathing open circuit, but in the real teams, you actually breathe closed circuit mostly, which is a rebreather.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go down there, and they grab you. The first one's like a surf hit. They just swirl you around and take your stuff off, and you have to put it back underwater. And then it gets more and more aggressive until at the end, they like pull your stuff off and tie it in knots, and you have to you can't go to the surface. If you go to the surface, you lose. So you have to hold your breath, but you don't know when they hit you and swirled you around and tight. And you have to fix your stuff. So you have to take it off your back. You're all on breath hold now. And they chose when you did it. So you don't know how much air you got in. So you have to sit here, affix the knot, and then eventually they tie a knot that you can't fix. And when you can't fix it, you have to know that you have to put your thumb up, put your lips on the bottom of the pool, and open your airway. And then you have to be calm through this whole thing. And so in my class, we lost a quarter of my class at that, but we don't lose as many as we used to. And
Wow.
Yeah.
And would people drown?
I mean, drown means they die.
Okay.
Not
so
usually.
Not die, but how about taking water?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You're taking water. In fact, we actually in buds, they probably kill someone every 5 classes, to be completely honest.
And then they bring them back.
No, people actually die.
People
Yeah.
die.
Yeah. I was 238. A guy died in 236, 2 classes after mine.
Huh.
And then, I mean, most recently they had somebody die January 2022, I think is the most recent death. But yeah, maybe every 5 years, not 5 classes, every 5 years.
So someone dies in buds about every 5 classes.
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
Yeah. Statistically,
Yeah.
since the 1960s. Yeah.
And what typically is the cause of death? Is it
So
drowning, exhaustion?
No, SIPE is one, which is this swimmer-induced pulmonary edema,
Yeah.
which basically they start their blood, their inside their lungs fills up. I don't think we know really what causes it. When people start coughing up blood, we pull them out.
Yeah.
So no.
I had a buddy who he was in Hell Week, and something did explode in his lung, and he
Yeah.
started coughing up blood,
It's called SIPE.
but it didn't kill him.
Yeah, they probably pulled him out and got him out, though. He didn't get to keep going, did he?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
No.
And so as you were walking through this experience, did you ever pray?
No.
Not once.
Nope.
Didn't even come to your mind to ask God for help?
I don't think so. I mean, I at that point I was kind of like, hey, this is on me, and like I said, I had lost most of my faith by then, but I really lost it in the teams.
Yeah.
I really lost it. Yeah.
How?
I remember the moment. So I was on. It was 2006. It was November the 10th, and we just got in a really bad gunfight, and we were in the gunfight. We were trying to leave. We were getting overrun.
Yeah.
The Iraqis that we're supposed to be in a sniper overwatch to clear this market area. Well, the Iraqis were going to clear it, like 500 of them. Instead of clearing it, they showed up and got chased out by the bad guy. And so we were supposed to leave with them once, because we don't move during the day. We move at night. So we got put in at night. We're supposed to leave with all those Iraqis. Well, we were going to try and fight it out till night, but we couldn't. We were running out of ammo. So we had to just run, and we were running our way out there, and I ended up getting shot. And I fell into this car. And I remember all I wanted to do was kill that man. And I'm pretty sure I did, because he thought I was dead. So he went around and tried to shoot the rest of the people. He was in a window. That's why I don't know if I got him, but I'm pretty sure I did. I put a bunch of rounds through that window. And then when I finished, I remember I was laying there. I'd fired all my rounds. I'd fired my rocket. I had nothing left. And I just sat there. And I was like, I'm still alive. I guess I'll run back to base with the guys. And I ran back, and I remember I was like, if I don't do it, then no one's going to do it. So that was kind of that was when I lost my faith.
And when you say, if I don't do it, if I don't save my life,
Yeah.
no one's going to save mine.
Yeah. No one's coming for me.
Yeah.
And I really kind of went down. And also, I think as a young man, you're killing people. That's what you do. And I think that sometimes you kind of, the way I rationalized it was that I'm just a thug for America. That's what I am. And, wherever this life takes me, that's what I am. And I didn't plan on surviving my time in the teams. And I was just in a dark place for a long time. Yeah.
What was it when you first got, so was Team 2 your first assignment?
Yep.
Okay. And when you got there, I mean, I've heard about, different kinds of hazing that takes place, like to kind of toughen you up.
Team 2 was supposed to be one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad for us. They were trying to crack down on it back then.
Yeah.
We got hazed a little bit,
Yeah.
like they didn't want us to wear our tridents. So I was the first group. They started giving your trident out of SEAL qualification training.
Yeah.
And the teams, you just thought that was the worst thing ever. Like, you can't walk around with the trident. So they'd take them away from us, spray paint them blue, which means inert.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let us wear them. And, there's I got choked out a few times, but if you haze me, I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
And I've always been that way. So there was always imposed a cost on the hazers, whatever that was. I don't tell on them, but
Yeah.
there's 3 of you guys, one of you will get it bad. And I've always been that way.
And just fight back.
I fought hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I normally didn't get hazed, but if they did, they stacked the deck to where there's no way I could win.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these were, so, I mean, what was it like coming into a team and this like brotherhood and this camaraderie, and then these guys are stacking a deck against you to like beat on you?
Well, they're also your brothers, and they're all day long, they're working with you, trying to get you cause you're way behind. You think, I've been training for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
You think you're ready, you get there, and they are moving so much faster than you. You think you know what's going on. You have no clue.
And give me an example. Like, what does it mean to move so much faster than where
so if
you're
we're
at?
clearing this house,
Yeah.
in SEAL qualification training, you come in and you walk slowly and you clear and you move methodically. The SEAL team, they're running. They're just moving so fast, and they're so efficient in the way they move.
Yeah.
Like they read that door, they know what to do with it, and the guy next to you knows what you're going to do, and you pop to it. Whereas
It just
ingrained. Happens, and they're not running. It's happening so fast.
Smooth.
And I couldn't, my mind, I look at that door, I couldn't decide what I had to do. That guy's already, not only has he decided, he's gone and executed.
He's through it, he's cleared it.
And the
he's
guy
cleared
behind me
corner.
saw that I wasn't confused, I was confused, and already passed me. And all I can do is check up and try and get back in the train. Wow. Because the guys, their decision was so much faster. And I didn't realize when I got the team, they move fast.
So, even in that training scenario, would they come down? Like, how would they coach you through that?
So when you walk into that, you go into the house to clear it, there's guys in the rafters, one per person, and they're grading everything you do.
Yeah.
When you walk in, are you 18 inches off that door? Did your finger come off the trigger for 1 second and come right back on?
And do they have binoculars or their eyes?
You have to paint little lines on your gun so they can see what your safe is doing.
Oh.
They'll put a piece of tape on your trigger finger so they can see what that's doing.
Yeah.
And that guy, his whole job is to watch you, and he's taking notes on everything you do. And if you do something and you can explain why you did it, then, that means you were with it and you know what's going on. Yeah. Sometimes they'll let you off, but you got to do everything just right. And so as a new guy, we had 8 new guys. That's called close quarters combat. I was actually pretty good at close quarters combat. Yeah. I was. Out of our 8 new guys, 7 of them at the end of it all got counseled. I didn't get counseled, which I had to be on the cusp of it, though.
Are there ever guys who make it through all the training, but they can't handle it in the teams?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the team is that elite.
Yeah, but usually usually it's a character issue.
Yeah.
Because we can find a place for you, if you're a high character guy, we can find a place for you that maybe you're not going to be kicking the door. Maybe you'll be doing something else.
Psyop.
Maybe you're a JTAC guy, a guy controlling the stack. I don't know. We'll put you in other places that you excel if you're a high character guy. Guys that get thrown out of the teams, it's always a character issue.
Wow. And what's a character issue?
Well, we don't steal in the teams. If I ever catch you stealing, absolutely gone.
Wow.
We don't lie to each other.
Yeah. So I can beat you and stack people against you, but I can't steal or lie.
Okay. Look, what they're doing, they're teaching me during the day, but they put consequences on stuff.
Yeah.
And so if you do something wrong, it might be a tire pull, but it might end up being like, hey, like before we got our tridents, they had this, it was kind of a fun thing, but we were like shooting each other with ammunition and we didn't have shirts on. We had to put our guns together and, they made us run a whole bunch and do a bunch of competitions that we lost. Like they got to sit back and laugh. Then we had to do skits from the old guys. The skits are hilarious. Yeah. Super fun. So it's kind of a good nature thing.
Got it.
So it's not like, if you really suck, they won't haze you.
Wow.
Because they're just going to try and push you out. If they're, you screw up and they're like, hey, reports back,
like you,
and they hose you down. It's like, okay.
See, and that's a level of hazing that I'm not trying to beat you down.
Yeah.
I am actually breaking down almost a part of you to bring you into this.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, it's unregulated because it's not allowed. I don't know what it's like now. I'm not going to say there's no hazing in the teams. I'm sure there's some, but I don't know about it anymore. And when I ran platoons and troops, I didn't allow it.
Wow.
They knew if my chiefs were going to do it, they did it. They didn't tell me because I'm like, well, I don't haze. We don't do that.
Wow.
I don't like it.
So when was your first combat deployment?
So I left with Team 2. It wasn't crazy combat. I was doing personal security detachment. So I was protecting dignitaries. I think we did, who did we do? We did Barham Saleh, who was the Deputy Prime Minister of Iraq, was our principal, but we've also did some other people. We augmented with the Bremer detail, and I think a little bit with Colin Powell's detail. Okay. So I was doing mostly protection.
And what year was this in?
This was 03.
03.
Yeah. Not super fun. Then I had to go learn Arabic. I took a test. Turns out, I'm a good test taker. I can learn languages. I thought I was going to miss the whole war. I thought my life was over. So I studied so hard. I finished an 18-month course in 16 months, passed, and went directly on to deployment. And that was in 06 with Jocko's deployment in Ramadi. And that one was probably my first sustained combat deployment.
A real combat deployment.
Yeah.
And so what was Jocko's role and what was your role?
So Jocko was the troop commander, which means he runs the 2 platoons. A platoon is the base tactical element of a SEAL.
And how many in a platoon?
About 16 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got 2 of those, and he was a great leader. In fact, he's probably a lot of the reason I stayed in the teams because I did not want to be an officer. I wanted to be enlisted. Yeah. I didn't like the idea of officers pushing paper, and Jocko made it okay to be an officer because he was tough. He fought. When I showed up there, he's like, "You wrestle?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, jiu-jitsu. I'm going to teach you." And we started doing jiu-jitsu and we started fighting. Wow. And is
he hard to fight?
Oh, he's terrible. He's
He's not good at it?
No, he's terribly good. It sucks. There's nothing like I was pretty good. I did some jiu-jitsu, like a blue belt. Yeah. And I was strong. I had a good background, but I could go to most schools and, as a blue belt, I could handle. Jocko, I couldn't do a thing. Wow. And I was like, well, there's a whole level here I didn't understand. So I trained with him that whole deployment. I've trained at his gym for 20-something years until I got my hips replaced. I can't do it anymore. Yeah. But, it was just, it was eye-opening. And the way the guys respected him, it made it okay to be an officer. Yeah.
So in his book, he tells that story of the friendly fire incident and the extreme ownership situation. Can you speak to that at all? And kind of what happened?
So there had 2 platoons, Charlie and Delta. That was not the platoon I was working with at the time. That deployment was crazy because I spoke Arabic, so I got to go work with everybody. I worked with platoons from 2, 4, 5, and 8 on that one deployment, and 3, of course. So I was not on that. I know the guys that happened with, and they completely owned it. In fact, Jocko went up to it was Colonel McFarland at the time, and was like, "Hey, this happened. It was our fault. It was a blue on blue incident." So I remember the aftermath, and I did some of the writing on it, but I wasn't there for that op.
Wow. What about Jocko's character? I mean, and his leadership made him just inspired you to want to stay in the teams?
Well, he was still a warrior.
He was still
I felt like a lot of the officers would get behind the paperwork trail, and they didn't really care about being a SEAL. And he was still a warrior, and I appreciated him for that.
Yeah.
And because that's what I wanted to do. And my whole life, I pointed everything towards warriorhood. And so I got into Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu, of course.
Yeah.
And I spent all my free time doing that. Yeah.
Why was Ramadi such a battle? I mean, what, because you got there in 2006.
Yeah.
And well, let me back up. You get there in 2006. When did you know, like, dude, this is a real combat deployment? What was the first moment?
So I landed the day Mark Lee was killed on August 2nd. So
He was the first SEAL
he was
killed.
the first SEAL killed in combat. Yeah. So I land that day, and they're like picking up the pieces from and another guy, Biggles, he's dead now too. He got shot in the rifle, and it sprayed metal up into his eye. So they had to send him home too. And I was kind of a replacement. So I was coming in the day all that happened.
Wow.
And I remember they had 17 interpreters, but only 2 would go outside the wire, but 1 just got shot on that op. So they had 1 and they have 2 platoons. They need another interpreter. And I'm like, I remember Jocko's like, he's like, you speak Arabic? I'm like, yeah. He's like, show me. So I started saying some stuff, and I was like, but you don't know what I'm saying. Why don't you bring an interpreter over here? And why don't you have me interpret for you so you can see? So I remember he said something like, hey, he said, tell the guys to go to the end and put them on the roof. And right when I started to do it, he yelled at me like, tell them now, they're on the fire, tell them right now. And he started yelling at me, and I was like,
And he's simming this.
yeah, he's yelling at me, and I was like, and he's like, psh. He's like, you don't speak Arabic. And I was like, I guess I'll go back to the office. He looks at me, he's like, helicopter leaves at 1. That was it. So I went over there, and that was, I don't know. He trusted me and sent me off there. So
And so were you studying Arabic when you weren't going out?
Well, the Arabic I learned is modern standard. So think like sitting down with the Englishman and like,
Totally.
Spot.
Yeah.
Well, then when I go over there, they're speaking like jive Arabic. Like it does not sound like anything like what I know. So I have to spend a lot of time with the interpreters.
Yeah.
So the reading is still the same, but most of them couldn't read. So I could read all the graffiti and know what was going on. But when they spoke, it didn't sound like what I learned. So I had to like sit down with the interpreters. So I figured it out. Yeah.
What was the first time you had to take a life?
You think I would probably remember it. It was that deployment. The first one I know I took was the guy that shot me. I know I took that one.
Yeah.
But I didn't walk in and check on it, so I didn't count it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So tell me about getting shot. You're in a firefight.
Yeah.
And how did the firefight start?
So we were supposed to be doing a sniper overwatch, which is a super common mission for us, where we were looking over this market. So it's in the stadium, just like in America, where stadiums become flea markets on the weekend. That's how this was. And the Iraqi army is going to clear through this whole thing. Well, after they clear through, they're going to like set up a perimeter, and we're going to leave with them. So we insert it at night because no one messes with us at night. Night vision is an incredible tool, but it takes a lot of skill to be able to wield it. Everything from fast roping to, parachuting to driving, everything you have to do on nods. So we do own the night. So we insert at darkness. The Iraqis show up. Instead of clearing, they turn and run and get chased out by a barrage of RPGs. I'm like, do I not understand this scheme of maneuver? Did they go the wrong way? Because I'm listening to their comms, and I'm talking to the officer in charge, and he's like, what? What's going on? I'm like, I think they just left. And they did. So now we're supposed the plan is let's just stay in place until night. But by 11 a.m., we're going to run out of ammo. We're not going to make it. So we call the army, and we're like, hey, man, will you come get us? And they're like, we told you we can't come get you because there's too many IEDs. And I was like, but we're going to come get you. So they drove in there with 2 sections of Bradleys, which are Ford Bradley fighting vehicles.
Yeah.
They come drive, and the plan was for us to run next to them. So at least we had one side we had cover, and they would cover us on the run as we run all the way back to base. And as I came out, I was supposed to hit this house with a rocket because the house we were fighting with across the street was behind a tree. We couldn't get good shots in it, but just blasting metal through that tree. So I came around the corner with the rocket. I go to hit it. It's a law rocket. It's not a big boom. But when it went out, it blew up in my face. So did I hit a wire? Maybe. I don't know. Lowest bidder? Probably. So that thing blows up in my face. The machine gun was supposed to pick me up and pepper the house so I can get back around the corner because you got to worry about your back blast with the rocket. I can't face this way and shoot a rocket with you there because you'll get smashed.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to hit it. He didn't. I hear another big explosion. So I'm shooting the house with my rifle as I go back around the corner. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, hey, the Brads got hit. They ain't coming. We just got to go. So guys are running out, and I'm trying to run down the street. So I've got a rocket that I've just fired. And you know what? We don't leave things on the battlefield. We don't. So I've got this spent rocket here, and I'm running like this. And as I came around the corner, I just caught up to the guys. I had 3 rounds hit me. So the guy shot me with a PKC, which is like a It's a 7.62, so it's a big round by 51. It's a full round, and it's a belt of ammunition that fires between 300 and 500 rounds a minute, depending how they set it.
Wow.
So I ran right through that belt. So I was like this. I had one hit my camelback hose, one go through my chest, one go through my backpack.
Wow.
And it spun me around and threw me under a car. He thought I was dead, so he spun around and he was shooting at the rest of the guys who jumped behind a Jersey barrier. And I must have lost consciousness for a minute. But when I came to, I put a bunch of rounds right through that window. And then when I was done shooting, because I could see I had blood on the ground there, and I could see it in the sand. And I was like, well.
And did you do anything with the wound, or you just keep going?
Not yet. I mean, I'm busy,
Yeah.
you know? So as we got done, when I was done shooting, I'd fired on my magazine, I'd fired my rocket. I'd thrown everything. I have nothing left. Everything was quiet. And I remember I got up and I ran back to base, and the guys were like, they're like, whoa, Jimmy, you made it. Hey, full head count. And I was like, yeah, but I got shot. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm super sure. And like when I lifted up my plates to look at it, the medic puked on me. And,
He puked on you?
Yeah, he puked on me, and he wiped his big nasty beard. He's an elected official now. He's a good friend of mine.
Wow, funny.
Yeah. And they had to send me out to go get a chest X-ray, so they did. Turned out I didn't hit anything important, so I went back to work the next night with the boys.
Wow. And it passed through?
Yeah, through and through. One here,
Through your
came out
pec?
here. Yeah, through my pec, and then it burned across the other side.
Wow.
Yeah.
But didn't that like tear up muscle and
Yeah.
cause issues?
Yeah, I had to do I had to debree it. I call it debreeing. We have to like put a little squeeze bottle and squeeze it out. Then I had to clean it with a pipe cleaner for a couple days, and then I had to take some pills. But it was fine.
And then you're back at it.
Next night went out. Yeah, I walked right in front of the same house I got shot at the next night, which was good for me.
Yeah.
Nothing better than that.
Why?
Because number one, the fact I got to go back out means I got to leave the battlefield on my own terms.
Yeah.
Number two, I don't spend the rest of my life thinking about you getting shot off the battlefield. You know, I saw that window, and I remember I broke that corner. We switched shoulders in the teams. You don't even know which shoulder is your main shoulder anymore.
Yeah.
I switched shoulder, took a look.
Clear.
Clear. Felt good.
Wow. I mean, what an incredible honor to interview Jimmy May, a guy that served with Jocko, I mean, development group, SEAL Team 6, all those things. And I am so excited for you guys to stick around for episode 2. It's going to be out next week, and you're going to hear how this battle-hardened warrior really came to know Jesus and to follow him. So stay with us, guys, and we'll be back with you next week.